when like I say, tiny town, tiny village I grew up in, and the nearest town over a couple of miles away only had one computer game store. This is in the time when we had an Amiga A500. And for my birthday, my grandma gave me like 20 quid or something for like my 7th or 8th birthday. And my dad took me to this shop and said, like, choose any game you want, no, spend it on the game, that's what you say you want. So I was looking around and picked up, I can't remember what version it was, but it was one of the Street Fighter games. Picked that up and I was like, this is it, this is awesome, it's got people fighting on the front, I really want this. And my dad was just like, yeah, okay, let's get that. He says it's a good game, let's take it back. So he bought that for me with the 20 quid, went home, played it for a bit, and my dad walked in to the lounge and saw me playing like this beat 'em up game, which in retrospect isn't that violent, like especially compared to something like Mortal Kombat. But at the time, my dad was like, oh, I don't want my son playing violent games like that. So he made me take it back and swap it for something else. And I was super like sullen and upset about that. So I just pointed at the first game that caught my eye and just went, oh well, no one has done. And that was The Secret of Monkey Island. And so I got that game, took it back, and absolutely fell in love with it. And I played all of them, and they were the defining like computer game of my life, because, well, there's all sorts of reasons. Like Garbage Threepwood was just like a super likable and relatable guy to me. Like he was just like this geeky dude who had no particular strengths and who everyone just kind of ignored or laughed at. It was super funny as a game, like, and there'd been comedy games beforehand, but I hadn't played any of them. So seeing a game that was actually funny was like a really big deal for me. And the final thing was that I played it with my brother again, who, my brother's dyslexic, and so he could play Monkey Island on his own. He was quite good at it and solving the puzzles, everything. But he couldn't really, because he's a year younger than me, he wasn't as good at reading all the dialogue, and there was no voice in the game. So the way we played it was I'd sit at the computer and go through all the game, and I'd read out the conversations to him in different voices, and he'd sit on a little footstool next to me just nodding and laughing along, and then trying to help me solve the puzzles and so on, which he was always better at. And yeah, so I really enjoyed that side of it. Again, it's that kind of playing a single player game. Actually, that's what I like in games a lot of the time. Is I'm not a big fan of multiplayer games because they're always so competitive, and there's always someone who's just put more time into it than you have, and there's no finale, there's no point where you're going to say like I'm the best in the world and I'm always going to be the best in the world. And if you even want to get to being anywhere near that point, you've got to put in so much time, it's unfeasible. But I've always enjoyed playing single player games in a multiplayer way with other people. That's always been really cool to me. So like Mass Effect 2, which I'm replaying at the moment, I was just playing that before you came. I played that with my girlfriend at the time, and she sat with me and like just watched me play the whole thing, and she treated it like a movie. I was kind of like chiming in about her favourite characters, saying like, oh no, don't romance Miranda, you know, pay attention to Jack, or go talk to Grunt, you've not spoken to him in ages. That's what I like about games. And that's been the defining thing that kind of has gone back to like my earliest memory